Hey ho, I'm back. On Friday, I was trying to figure out how can we restore a state for all the state machines if a node crashes, for example. And I found some ways how you could restore stuff, but there is an issue. If you want to restore all the submachines and all the context and all the logic and all the actions, it's basically only possible to do so if you replay all the events. So you have to basically store the whole history somehow, and then you have to go and replay all the events that ever happened. And of course, all the events also kind of trigger certain actions. So you would go through all the actions again, and that's not good. So we basically talked to the developer who developed the xstate, David, and he said that sadly this is currently not possible, and it's not so trivial to do for the xstate the way it works, because it also has to cover some other edge cases. But we don't need this. So, I mean, we don't need this other functionality. So we started to think about writing our own interpreter, our own interpret function. The interpret function is responsible for, let me see, for basically interpreting the state machine, this JSON, and it enables listening on the transition, returns the current state. You can also start it and stop it, and so on. So we now started basically sketching out how this interpreter would look like. And then I'm talking we because I was working on this together with Sarapath, and we just wanted to go also through the whole communication flow, how for one scenario that we have here. So I create a state machine, and then I just basically emit this publish hosting plan event. And yeah, some more stuff, but like I won't go into these details. But the point is like, okay, there is in somewhere in UI, there's a button that we click to publish a hosting plan. And then we send this data to the datdot service. So here, and then datdot service is the one listening here to this event. And when it gets this event, it has to now do all this interpreter stuff so that it creates the planned state machine. But there's also a trick with this, because if we write our own interpreter, we also have to figure out how do we spawn submachines, because spawning is part of the interpreter logic that comes out of the box with xstate. But if we want to have our own interpreter, we also have to cover this particular use case. So, I mean, spawning a submachine, it's anyway just like creating a new machine, the same as we create here this initial machine. And this is just by calling interpret, and this we give it a service machine. But we have to figure out like how do we connect now this parent state machine with the children state machines, and how will they communicate? Like, will we automate some kind of communication, or how will this whole flow work? So yeah, this was basically like Friday, and then weekend, like brainstorming a little bit about it, and today kind of trying to write down some first steps. So we continue tomorrow with this, but yeah, that's the update.